bylaws in a way that diminish the conservation, or by suspending a levy, you damage the public trust. Please, don't betray our trust in you. Thank you.
Is there someone else that wanted to make a comment? I think we're at the very end here. Okay, so we can move on from.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Yes, Michelle.
I just want to finish one more thing about the budget, if I could, because I think Ed had, Mr. Roberts had a few more comments that I just want to answer, I guess. You had said that the auditor's office had no detail in regards to the projects, and that would be true, because our budget has not been turned into him yet. The budget's not turned into our board approves. So that would be true, that at this point, the auditor has no detail regarding our budget for 2016. When he does, he'll receive the same packet that was available at our front desk, which includes the budget and as well as the projections, which is the information that we provide every year, including what we had available last year. But unfortunately, we didn't get to them. But it shows projects and expenditures out through the next levy cycle to show that we do indeed need that levy. So, you know, board decision. And included in this particular document, it also shows that we do, in fact, want this particular, all of it to reflect next year. So that I just wanted to make that point that the auditor doesn't have the information because they shouldn't have the information, our board hasn't approved it yet.
But just to clarify for everybody, the budget does include all of the tax levies. Okay, Michelle, I think we're ready.
I might have my new friend, Mr. Robinson. Do you have anything to say?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Just met him today.
Okay.
I've got something to say, you'll know.
Okay, good. Good.
Financial statements for the month of June. We begin with the general fund with $7,034,308.36. Expenditures of $1,043,393.19. Revenue of $52,306.48. Ending balance of $6,043,221.65. Most notably in the expenditures, a transfer to the land improvement fund of $500,000 cash, which was approved via some cash transfer last month. In the land improvement fund, their beginning balance $3,175,211.19. Expenditures of $72,042.65 and revenue of $500,340.18, which includes that $500,000 transfer. Ending balance $3,603,508.72. The third fund would be the retirement reserve, and that began the month with $82,457.76, revenue of $3.55, ending balance of $82,461.31. Any questions on the financial statement? If not, we will move over to the purchase requisition pre-approval. The July purchase requisition pre-approval includes a total of $23,736.70. Are there questions on this?
I have no questions. Thank you. I'll second.
Mr. Gertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Shumway?
Yes.
Mr. Warnor?
Yes.
Okay, then we'll move over to the presentation of financials. Are there any questions on the vouchers? Sorry, the vouchers?
I have none. Did you have any?
Well, these are the vouchers through June 30.
That'd be correct.
I'm just puzzled, and probably because I'm a new kid on the block, why when we're purchasing garbage shampoo, where it's shown that the equipment fees and purchases are Geauga credit.
Geauga Credit Union is our credit card, so if they purchased on the credit card, that would be one.
All right, thank you. That would explain. I thought it was something like that. Thank you. I have no other questions.
All right, we would just ask that you file those for the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers.
Approve or receive?
Approved.
Second.
all we have at this time. We'll be back.
Thank you, Michelle. Next up is proposed amendments to the bylaws. As you recall, these were entered into the record at the June 9th board meeting. And so now, if you are so inclined, we would need a motion to approve the resolution adopting the revisions.
I move that we pass a resolution adopting the amendments as previously discussed at a prior board meeting and reviewed by council. And is submitted to us with the date July 1.
I'll second Jeff's motion.
Thank you. Mrs. Shumway?
Vote yes.
Mr. Gertz?
Yes.
Mr. Wondorf?
Yes.
Next up is the retirement severance policy. For the sake of Mr. Orndorff and I believe Mr. Gertz, this was reviewed last November, December. It's bringing our retirement severance policy a little more in line with the county. And the reason we're bringing it to your attention is that there currently isn't a cap for payouts of sick time. So we wanted to bring it to your attention for consideration. One of the things, you've got a proposed revision right before this meeting, and that was to put things in terms of hours as opposed to days, because in dealing with our bargaining unit, sometimes days aren't 8-hour days, sometimes they're 10 or 12-hour days. So you've got a revision in front of you as of today for your consideration.
So what's before us at the top is what we have at the present time, 310.1, is that correct?
That's correct, with the yellow revisions showed.
And what is the importance from your perspective on conforming to what the county does or doesn't?
It's sometimes quite expensive to provide these payouts for the amount of sick time that accumulates. Our sick time is in a bank and it continues to accumulate, and we would like to see it capped. There is no cap, so all of it would be.
Well, the cap at the present time, if I understand the retirement policy that's printed at the top of the page, is 25% of an employee's accumulated sick leave after they've worked for more than 10 years.
That's correct. And I'm sorry if I'm miscommunicating this, but this takes the cap down even further, so.
And so it has the effect of a disincentive to long-term employees, because it makes them, at least perhaps some of them, think to themselves, well, I better get out before this policy goes into effect on January 1st of 2016, because I'm gonna, if I'm thinking or pondering my possible retirement, I'm gonna lose days and dollars if I don't retire by the end of the calendar year.
That is a possibility.
And why do we want to do that? Just because we want to conform to what the county does?
No, not necessarily. It's simply, for example, Michelle, could you give an example of one of the bigger payouts? When you see $84,000 in the retirement account and some of the larger checks that have been wrote just simply because people save their sick time,
Per URC, you accumulate sick leave. It does not require you to pay out that sick leave at retirement or the time of when you sever employment. When an employee severs employment right now, for any other reason other than retirement, they don't take their sick leave balance with them. When they go work for another PERS organization, it's up to that organization whether or not they want to accept that sick leave balance. So when we've had employees here who've been longtime employees somewhere else, and we accept their sick leave balance when they come, and then they retire with us 2 years, 3 years later, and we're paying out someone else's sick leave balance that they brought with them, no cap, which comes to
Other
an
than
issue.
25%
Under
of
the
accumulated
25%.
sick leave.
Correct. Where this would put a cap. The county of Geauga has a cap, and Robin, please remind me, I think it's 240 hours, right? 240 hours is the county of Geauga. I am one of the employees that came from the county of Geauga, from the auditor's office, and so when I came here and saw there was no cap, I was like, wow, really? It was one of those amazing things. To to be frank with you, coming from the county the auditor's office, we tend to see a lot of the other organizations, and this is really the only organization I know that doesn't have a cap.
Other than the 25%.
Right. Remember, they also get paid all of their vacation time when they leave, no matter
To
whether
the
they
extent that
retire
they
or
would
not.
not have used it.
If they've not used it, that's correct. And then we also have the vacation and personal time that they would get paid upon.
Do we have, in terms of, I know this is probably a difficult question, but do we have a significant number of employees who carry a lot of vacation leave?
They can only have 3 years on the books. So there is a cap on how much they.
3 years at whatever rate they are accumulating.
Right. So we have a cap on vacation, but we don't have a cap on sick.
Let me ask you this, Jeff. Do you think you would feel better if we did a cap, but we slowly implemented it?
Which I think is what this is.
That's what
right
it's
here.
suggesting.
Well,
That's a good idea.
we keep saying that we don't have a cap, but in point of fact, this policy is a cap. It has a cap.
It's 25%.
It's 25%, regardless of how much. So the 25% rule, if you have 4,000 hours of sick time, it's 25% of that no matter what. We're saying 25% up to a maximum. We're putting a maximum cap, is what the cap would be.
There is no maximum, and we've had some pretty, the frank answer is to save the taxpayers as opposed to thousands of dollars, as opposed to paying for some of these sick leave payouts, these severance payouts.
I guess before I would be ready to make a decision about this, I'd surely like to know whether we really have some scary
We have.
accumulated sick leave hours out there.
So are you asking to table it
We
until
can
the next
table it.
board
Give you
meeting,
some-
and then Robin can get us those statistics?
I guess would be very interested to know.
That way you'll be able to see what we paid out and what it might look like under this policy.
I would,
That's
I
fine.
would very much
That would be
like
great.
that.
Okay, so
One other thing that you don't consider is if this person takes sick leave, 10 years later, he's accrued these things, he's getting paid at the current rate and not at what he earned 10 years before that.
Right.
So he's getting a raise increase through this system. When I was at Sidley's, we incorporated a cap. Had no problem, the employees agreed to it, and it was much fairer to the company to have that cap, and they couldn't accumulate it. Because you look at the paper a lot of times, well, this fireman retired and he had 35 years of accrued whatever, and he had a check for $78,000. Well, that's your money, folks,
And we've had payouts that are in that range.
Yeah.
Okay, but we'll know next, we'll have the stats from
I'm
Robin.
not saying we'll have new ones, but in the past, we have. Yeah.
Okay,
We'll table it and get you more information.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's fine. I have no problem with
park development. I think we're,
It's raining out there, folks.
I think it's
We're gonna have an umbrella sale right after the board meeting.
Anybody wants to walk out with me, it's $5.
Are we a park development
Yes,
project?
park development project is.
Thank you.
Unless there's any questions, there's no provide an update.
Yeah, I was gonna say, really with all the rain, you have kind of all the updates on where the projects are at currently. But with all the rain the last month, it's really just kind of trying to keep up and stay on schedule. We still look like we're pretty good for finishing everything up in the fall like we anticipate, but again, it just really depends how much rain we get and how that slows down the contractors and the projects. So, if you don't have any specific questions on any of the projects, and you also have my summary update of all the planning and operations divisions work that we're working on, so if there's no specific questions.
When I went to Prairie Meadows, the fellows who were down there working on the tunnel,
Yes.
they were doing some mumbling about whether there was adequacy of detail for the door that faces the parking lot. Have they directed any questions to you about that?
Yeah, we actually had a progress meeting today with the architects, and we worked through some of the issues on some of their concerns with just some of the detailing around the door, and also around the fireplace. We had some things that we cleared up today, so.
And is the fireplace fireplace going to be operable both on the inside and on the outside of that building?
Yeah, they're actually two separate fireplaces, so it looks like one, but there's actually two separate flues and liners.
And on the outside portion, is there going to be a pad there or something?
Yeah, there's a pad in that area to the west.
It looked like it was very modest in size. Will it expand? Will there be a deck? Will there be something there?
No, the concrete there is the pad for the air around the fireplace.
Okay, thank you. That's my only question.
Just to clarify, just so that we know for future, if we have this discussion, the pad that Jeff is speaking about is part of the mowed and maintained area already, so it wouldn't be additional development, correct? Where the outside of the fireplace, it's already mowed and maintained already over to
The area Jeff is referencing is a 16 by 16 pad, so you could have seating around the fireplace.
okay, that's what I just wanted to double check.
Okay.
Thanks. Did you have any questions?
No, no.
Then go,
I
okay.
know what you're talking about.
Couple supplemental and budget appropriations.
Budget amendment number 7, resolution 2615 is for a revenue certification. We received a refund of tax dollars and a total amount of $22,193.98 also includes $200, which was the difference for BWC refund that we adjusted earlier. We receive refund of tax dollars once we turn in a exemption of property taxes on them, and receive this one back for quite a few properties as named there. So we are requesting to approve resolution 2615 in the amount of $22,193.98.
I'm trying to find it in
The blue tab is revenue certification.
the, okay, there, I got it. Thanks. I move for approval of your resolution 26-15.
I'll second Jeff's motion.
Mr. Gertz,
Yes.
Mrs. Shumway,
Yes.
Mr. Warndorf.
Yes.
Okay, the next one is resolution 2715. This is an appropriation. We are requesting an additional appropriation for the naturalist department. We have designated our theme for 2016 as listed there. The theme will be Come Home. And as a result of this, we would like to get the exhibit updated and the exhibit room updated, at least some of the work done behind the scenes, so that we can have part of it open for the Frozen Fest in 2016 with the new Come Home theme. And therefore, instead of doing what we were going to do to the exhibitry next year after Frozen Fest, we want to move it forward and get it done, some of it at the end of this year and up and installed before Frozen Fest. So that would increase the appropriations as listed by a total of $10,000. So we are requesting an increase of $10,000.
And are you already aware of what these exhibits are going to be, or you're just guessing what they're going to be?
No, we have a plan in place. Operations is aware of it, communications, and who else is on that? I guess operations, communications, and naturalists have been listed. They've identified what it's going to be, as well as what we're hoping to do with it. So there is a plan as well as a timeline in place at this point.
And the exhibit is here at Meyerson?
No, this is the Westwoods.
Okay.
Could you perhaps explain some of the project elements?
Yeah, some of the project elements so that we get what's, I guess you all changed the theme for 2016 from Connect to, excuse me, Come Home.
Come Home, yeah.
Okay.
Most of the themes in regards to this particular, the exhibit features, not necessarily Frozen Fest, because that'll be a different topic we'll talk about, but for this exhibit, is going to be the habitats in the room, in the exhibit room. that's there right now. A lot of those features will be coming out And they'll be replacing with some new features. I don't want to say they'll be coming out, but they'll be taking some of the electronic features out and putting some new electronic features that talk about habitats and animal habitats in their homes, per se. And then we'll be purchasing some materials for the, hopefully the operation guys can fit in their schedule, and we'll be putting together a tunnels and slides that will be used at Frozen Fest, similar to what we did a few years ago when we had the otter slides and the big mound in the middle of the Westwoods room at one point, you know, with slides, and we called it the otter slide at the time, about the otter habitat. A lot of this particular one, as you can see, is going to be in contracts, so we'll be doing a lot of contract work on this one for videos and displays and renting of different taxidermy
And so this is something that's already been discussed across the boards with the entire park group, that your side of?
The division's already had our division meeting to come up with, and we actually met with both sides for the division to come up with a theme and agreements on the theme. And then we have gone a little bit further, and it's been taken back to the naturalists department, and that's when they looked at both of the two exhibits they had planned over the next couple of years and decided that this one would be better suited with the Come Home theme. And Frozen Fest, we've been throwing around some taglines for that as well. And everything seems to be fitting in with the Come Home, and everyone's on board with it on both sides of the division. And then July 29th will be the first time we have a division meeting with the naturalists and communications, everyone together again, and it'll be all staff at that point, and we'll be talking about the Come Home and program ideas and how we can work the whole year into the Come Home theme program-wise, and obviously marketing-wise as well.
Do you all have any more questions about?
I move for the adoption of resolution 27-15.
Second.
Mr. Gerst?
Yes.
Mrs. Shumway?
Yes.
And Mr. Wondorf? Yes. In addition to the appropriation as well, we will continue to see pre-approval purchase price come to you, so you can ask questions, second comments. And then the proposed budget will go before the county auditor, county treasurer, and county prosecutor for approval. We're still waiting on them to confirm a budget hearing sometime in August.
When we get that date, could you please let
Yes.
the board members know, please?
Yeah.
Budget hearings, they're set for Tuesday, August 11th. You can put that date in your calendar. They initially had us down for 3:30, which happens to be a board meeting time.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
So we've requested to be moved up into the morning. We're hoping for a 10 a.m. slot. She just needs to confirm that with the other three members. So potentially it'll be at 10 a.m. If that changes, we'll let you know.
Also move we accept the preliminary that we sent out to the Geauga County Auditor.
I have one question. I know that we appropriated land acquisition of $500,000, and it's shown here. Is it too late for us to increase that amount?
This will be the appropriate, we have, the $500,000 would be appropriation, which would be the money that would be available like on day one, January 1st, to open a contract or a purchase order with, so that somebody could go immediately and write an agreement with somebody to purchase. We'll be preparing and having available a much more detailed budget, which would likely be approved either probably at your January budget meeting, and that would be the document that if you were working on some land negotiations, as long as you hadn't signed anything, you could make those changes at that time and have appropriations set higher if you would like at that time. That would be my suggestion, because this particular document needs to be approved today and filed tomorrow to be.
That was the same figure used last year.
I'm sorry.
That was the same figure used last year.
We actually used zero. And euro was last year, and then we made the change throughout the year to increase it to the 500,000.
This is
Or
only
more.
so you can begin to go into a contract over the parcel.
I understand. I'm just suggesting that from my perspective, I would be happy to have more than $500,000 in that account.
If your comfort level is more, we can change it, it's not a problem, we'll just change the numbers that we have here and approve it.
There's a motion on the floor, I call for a vote.
If we transfer, Michelle, is there any loss in, are we earning interest on it in another area where we're not going to earn interest on it in this area?
Well, what he's talking about is actually different than earning interest areas. The money, the cash, it will be in an area in which it's gaining interest either way.
Okay, just double checking.
This will be just an appropriation, basically I can spend up to, that's all it is it's an approval to spend up to. It'll allow us to open an encumbrance, which is the only way you can spend money. Nobody could, on January 1st or until that other budget gets approved and then it goes through budget hearings, so you're looking probably until the end of January. To be completely frank, it would be the end of January until a change would be made in the budget. That nobody could sign a document for a land purchase that would be higher than $500,000. That would be what the restriction would be. But if you have a land purchase this year and you have money in this year's budget, that one would already be in place and carried over if it was still not closed before year end.
And what do we have left over in the land acquisition fund for this year?
There's been zero spent so far. So I know you're asking how much is left. I would have to get that in from which we put in. You?
Ballpark?
I don't remember if we put 500 or 1,000 or a million.
I think we put $1 million, we appropriated $1 million.
So we have a total of $1,500,000.
1.5.
Thank you. I'll second Mr. Gertz's motion.
Put it to vote, Mr. Gertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Shelmite?
Yes.
Mr. Warren?
Yes. I do.
Surplus property.
Surplus property. There's one item in scrap and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vehicles being declared surplus property. Thank you very much.
Do we have replacements on those vehicles already? Or are we looking to replace?
You have a replacement, you can replace one, right?
Yes, and the one I used to drive, Natural Resource Management is using, I don't know offhand, so.
We rotated one Explorer in our department, and then the oldest one out of Natural Resource Management.
You're the one that saved us about $7,000 on your purchase, right?
That was a while ago.
Huh?
That was a while ago,
That's all right. I think these people ought to know that.
I move for the disposition of the surplus items identified in this memo.
Mr. Wondorf, if I could, before I make a motion. A lot of times other county agencies will contact us, and this is an email from Michelle. We have 2 offers for vehicles that are set to go to auction. They are as follows. The Geauga County Maintenance Department would like for us to donate to them the 2000 Explorer. Estimated auction price is $4,500, so they're requesting a donation. Should you decline, we have another offer. Offer 2 is from the county engineers would like to offer $7,500 for the vehicles that are the 2 Ford Explorers, GB6196 at $4,000 and GB6348 at $4,500. So they're offering us $1,000 less for those 2 estimated auction prices for a total of $8,500.
Wait,
They're
I'm
offering
sorry.
$7,500 for vehicles that.
It should be selling for $8,500. And is there a reason why we would do that?
To help another county agency out, a lot of times we'll donate things to county agencies. Vehicles are a pricey one.
I was gonna say, this is a couple $1,000. It's not like you're giving them a,
Of course, we have no guarantee that we'll get our starting bid price either.
That's correct.
That's correct.
so on the one we're talking 500.
Next, what kind of mileage do we have on these? Is it up there? Over 100,000?
On the Explorers,
Yes.
And
The
they're like
NRM Explorer and the F-250 truck.
They may not be, Jeff.
May
They
not be
both
what?
need work.
Over 100,000.
They both need work. One's needing